Stopped. Good afternoon. I'm Tara Kelly, Executive Director of Maine Preservation. We, along with our partners at Maine Downtown Center, Portland Downtown, Friends of Congress Square Park, Greater Portland Landmarks, and the Maine Semi-Quincentennial Celebration are here. Or it's the commission, but that's what we're celebrating. Uh, we are co-coordinators and collaborators on presenting Jane's Walk Maine, and you all are our volunteer walk leaders, and we are so happy that you have submitted to us this year. Oh, Maisie's going to say this part, so I'm not going to steal her thunder. I'm just going to introduce, to begin with, Maisie Winter, who is our outreach associate at Maine Preservation, to talk a little bit about walk promotion. And then obviously this is a time also for us to discuss generally any questions that you might have about hosting your Jane's Walk. Let's begin with Maisie.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maisie Winter. As Tara said, I'm the outreach coordinator here. This is my first year participating in Jane's Walk in any way, and I am so excited. It's going to be a great event. We've got in nearly 70 towns across the state of Maine, 35 different walks. So this is the biggest Jane's Walk year in Maine so far. Um, and as I'm presenting, there's a lot of stuff I want to cover today, but as you have questions, you can throw those in the chat. I won't be able to see anyone like raise their hands, but maybe Kyle or Tara could pipe up if someone's got a question that's more urgent, but we'll dive into the chat after and go over what we see in there. And if you've got other suggestions as well, that's a great place to put those. But I think we'll dive right in. So we're going to go over a couple of promotion strategies for Instagram, and then we'll talk a little bit about Facebook, and then also some analog ways to share about your walk. I want to thank everybody for joining this call today and being willing to promote your walk, and also just for leading these walks. As I go through the submissions, I'm just so excited. I'm going to try to hit as many walks as I possibly can. Okay, so in Instagram, the very first and sort of most basic level of content is just a feed post. So on Instagram, in the upper left corner of any Instagram page you're on, there's a plus button, and that's where you can choose create a post. And with the post, you're going to want to have an image that is a compelling image of some kind. Sometimes it's best to not have text in the image. I just thought this was a great example of a Jane's Walk image. But you're going to want to add a caption to that, and your caption should have all of the relevant information. So time and place of your walk, topic of your walk, the link to either janeswalkmaine.org or the link to your walk itself from our janeswalkmaine.org page, and then like your specific URL. And you can use a hashtag as well. So the hashtag JanesWalkMaine is a great thing to include in your caption. Instagram has sort of moved away from hashtags as engagement like boosters, and is now focused more on keywords thanks to AI. But the Jane's Walk Maine keyword will still be relevant if you use it in a hashtag or any other way. And so also in the post, you can tag a location, and adding a location is a really great way to increase the engagement in your local area. But also just any of these things that you see under the post, adding audio, tagging people, adding a location is all going to increase engagement and reach of your post. When you tag people, you can tag people either in the caption or on the image, and you can also do both. And tagging people is a really great way to make sure that they see your post. Also, if you want to tag like a lot of people that are not necessarily relevant to your walk itself, you can write a great description and have all of the relevant information in your caption, and then post your post. And in your very first comment, you can just tag all the people that you want to have see that post. And that's a great way to increase the reach without having them be part of the focus of your post itself. I think that's that. Okay, another thing that you can do on Instagram, and this can be sometimes more effective. Instagram really likes it when you have more than one image on your post. So any post with more than one image is called a carousel on Instagram. And it's pretty much the same thing as a feed post in that it's an image and it will have a caption, but there will be more than one image. So when you get to the image selection screen on your Instagram post, you can press in the upper right of the image area, select, and just tap more than one image, and they will appear in the order that you tap them. So here it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, but I could have done like 1, and then the fourth image is the second image, and so on from there. You can do up to 10 images. And usually like 1 to 5 is probably the best. It's not often that everyone scrolls through every single image. If you don't see the images that you want to be adding there, it might be because your camera roll isn't directly connected to your Instagram, which is totally fine. You just press manage in the upper right corner of the second screen here. And then it'll ask you to like select specific images from your camera roll. One thing to note about carousel is that it's kind of hard to edit specific images in a carousel in the Instagram interface. I find it much easier to make sure that all of the images that I want to use are easy for me to find. So they're like in my favorites folder, or they're in a folder that I've said, like, these are the images I'm going to use for Jane's Walk Maine in my camera roll, and they're already edited the way that I want them to be edited. I just find that much simpler to deal with that part on your phone or your, computer. Um, Next on Instagram is reminders. And this is something that I just learned about this year, and it has been very helpful. This is free, and it's a great way to make sure that your content gets in front of the people at the right time. So if someone, that's not to say you shouldn't post as soon as possible, but you can add reminders to your post so that they see it when it's relevant to them as well. And with a free walk or a free event at all, like Jane's Walk, adding reminders is a great way to make sure that people, they hear about it. They're like, oh, that's free. I should do that. Maybe they don't add it to their personal calendar. This will get it in front of them again before the walk happens. These screenshots are from a previous year, but make sure that you add your start time for your reminder as either May 2nd, really early in the morning, or May 1st in the evening, like 4 or 5 p.m. So to add a reminder to your post, on the like post screen that we've been looking at, sometimes it's in dark mode, sometimes it's in light mode. It's the same screen. At the bottom, there's 3 dots and it says more options. And then you'll be able to choose add reminder. You can set that start time for either Saturday, say Saturday, May 2nd at 7:30 in the morning. Probably the night before is better. And press done, and it will add the time of the event to your post itself. And then when you share it, what it looks like for people, viewers, is this. So there's that big blue bar, which definitely catches people's eye, and it says remind me. When they tap that, it will add it to their upcoming events. And then it will also like re-show them the image and give them an Instagram reminder in the app, unless they have notifications on, and then it'll notify them on their phone sooner to the event when you've set your reminder time to be. So this is a really great free tool to increase engagement and make sure that your content is seen by the people that you want to have see it when you want them to see it. Okay, next is stories. This is a great way to like tease your walk and to do little sneak peeks for your walk. I would say anything that you're going to put on a story should probably also have a post, because a story is a great way to direct people to your page to get more information. So you don't need to include everything on your story that you would maybe include in a post if you've got the post to direct people to. If you want to just add like an additional reminder, like say morning of Jane's Walk, you want to do like Jane's Walk is today, meet me at this place at this time. That's fine. And it doesn't need an additional post because ideally you've already posted quite a lot about your walk. So to post to stories on your profile in the upper left corner, there's that plus button. That'll pop up and say, create a post, create a reel, create a story. You're going to choose create a story. You can also go to your little Instagram profile icon, this circle here at the top of your profile, and there's a little plus button there. And that will also prompt you to create a story. So when you do that, you can either choose to take an image right then and there on your camera. You can add something from your camera roll. And again, if you don't see what you want to be seeing, you can use the manage button to add more from your camera roll. And even if you don't want to use an image, I would suggest that you select an image, and I'll tell you why in a moment, something really colorful. And it'll take you to this story design page. So the reason I say select a really colorful image, even if you don't want to be using one, is because you can use the colors in the image to fill in your background color. So to create a background on a story, you're going to go to the side here. It's got like text, stickers, audios, effects. It seems that this is a little different on everyone's Instagram, depending on what version you're on. And then usually right under effects, there's like a down arrow that brings up mention, draw, download, and more. And so you're going to press draw, and it'll show you I don't know, 10 or so colors, and they're not like the perfect colors sometimes. So you can also use the eyedropper tool and select a color from the image that you're looking at. So like this blue that we're looking at here is the blue of the sky from this photo that's on the right. So it's just another way to like get access to more colors because you cannot do hex code colors. Anyway, so to use the draw to set your background, you pick a color, whether it's with the eyedropper tool or from that selection of 10 colors, and then you tap and hold on your story page and it'll fill the background with that color. Then you're going to want to go to stickers, which is at the top there. Well, first off, you can just tap and start typing. You just tap to type and type whatever you'd like to type. And then you can tap again and it'll create a new text box and you're moving everything around with your fingers. So you're like zooming in and like pushing things around with your fingers on the stories. Sometimes it's kind of challenging, but just like be patient with it and you can get really creative and make some cool stuff. If you use the stickers feature on the right-hand side there, it'll pop up with this page, which is like the second screen I've got here. And all of these different things at the top in the white bubbles are stickers. And you can use definitely more than one. I encourage you to do so. The most important ones here, I think, are the link, the location, mention. Again, if you want to add additional photos, great. You can add audio. So all of these things are going to help increase the, reach and engagement of your story. But I also wanted to talk about questions here. So questions is a sticker and you can add it as a question and type in like, what do you want to know about my Jane's Walk in X town? And people can respond, and then you will be able to respond to them through stories. So a bunch of questions will come in, you'll get notified on your phone, and you can choose to reply to it through stories, and everyone will be able to either see your response or you can send a DM directly to that person to respond about a specific inquiry. In the link sticker that you see, it's like on the bottom left column of those white sticker bubbles, you can include the link to janeswalkmaine.org, or you can go and select the specific URL for your walk and put that in the link section. And then you can title your link. So that will, instead of showing like janeswalkmaine.org/shadows of Portland, you can have it say like, find your walk or meet me out there. And then have it linked to whatever, either the Jane's Walk, all of the walks, or your walk specifically. Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about multi-image carousels, regular feed posts, adding reminders to posts, posting to stories. That's all a great way to produce your own content. Another great thing about the Jane's Walk community is that we can all share each other's content, and that's going to amplify all of the reach of all of the Jane's Walks across the state. And also it will incentivize others to reciprocally share your content as well. So that's always a great option. So for your posts and for other posts that you come across on your feed, there are two things, and one of them I've kind of blocked out with this little circle, I'm realizing, but one is this little paper airplane, and that means like send or share. And the other is right next to it, and it's a little bit obstructed here, but it's like two arrows chasing each other, and that means reshare. So first, resharing posts will go to a tab on your profile where it's like your posts, posts you've been tagged in, posts you've reshared, and it's just a way to collect all of the posts that you've reshared in one place on your profile. And it will, it's a way for people to access that information. So any post that you see about Jane's Walk, it's an easy thing to just reshare it. It doesn't go onto your direct feed. It's just like saved on your feed for other people to access. And then like a little bubble will show up with your profile when someone else sees that post and it says like, oh, May Winter has reshared that. And they know like, oh, well then I know Maisie's going to go to that walk. Or is interested in that. The other one is paper airplane, and paper airplane means send. So when you click the paper airplane, what's going to come up is the second screen here. It'll show you different accounts that either you've interacted with recently or you interact with often. A little green bubble next to the account means that person's like active right now. So you can always send it directly to somebody, and that's a DM, direct message, and it'll show up in their inbox. Or you can press add to story. And so add to story is this little button on the lower left, and it'll show up like this screen on the far right. If you press tap for more, like where it says tap for more at the top, originally it'll show up as just the square with the person who posted its handle underneath it. If you press tap for more, it'll show more information. So the very first line of their caption and that person's account, it'll just show the post in a different way. You can tap through and see which format looks best for you. And then again, go back to the text and adding text to that page saying like, this is my friend's walk. I'm so excited to join her in Belgrade. You can use the stickers and add other stickers to it. Again, the link is a great thing to add there. Trending audio, mentions, all that stuff is the same as just a regular story. And then that blue button on the bottom right is to share it. Okay, that was a lot from Instagram. I think we're going to dive right into Facebook. Does anybody have any questions about Instagram that we can touch on first? Again, I can't see anybody. So Tara or Kyle?
I'll let you know if I see any hands.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to just move right into Facebook. Okay, so some people are probably more familiar with Facebook than I am, but the thing you're looking for on Facebook is that what's on your mind bubble. Sometimes it looks like this at the top, and sometimes you can do like, there's like a create button, and then it'll take you to this create a post section. When you're creating a post on Facebook, same thing as on Instagram, you want to make sure you're including the relevant information. There's something that I want to mention here about this that I forgot to mention on Instagram. But in the relevant information, it's going to be the time and place of your walk, maybe a little bit more of a description of your walk, you know, related topics to your walk. If you're going to be passing by any businesses, this is a great chance to like tag, and this is also true for Instagram, tag those businesses as well. So like on our walk through downtown Wiscasset, we're going to be passing X, Y, and Z businesses, like, or maybe it's a food tour and we're going to be visiting X, Y, and Z restaurants. So this is a good time to tag those people as well. And then also the link. So on Instagram, just back to that for a moment, you can't link something directly in the posts where someone could tap it. janeswalkmaine.org is an easy thing to link because someone could like commit that to memory and type it into their own browser. But on Instagram, often people will say, find it at the link in our bio, or like check the link in my bio for the link to this event. So you can say like, visit us at Janes Walk Maine or check out the link in our bio. And in your profile, you can add the link to your bio description. On Facebook, the link will just show up. So if it's janeswalkmaine.org or it's janeswalkmaine.org/ the URL slug for your link, that will show up on Facebook. So it's just something to keep in mind that on Instagram, you want to make sure you're either directing people to the link in the bio or using that short, easy to remember link. Also on Facebook, you can tag at Janes Walk Maine, Janes Walk Me, which is the Janes Walk Maine Facebook event page. So tagging that will populate it on that page's like wall. So that's a good thing to remember as well. So all of the relevant info, make sure you're including the link, tag Janes Walk Maine, tag collaborators. And then at the bottom here on the bottom screenshot, I have circled the photos. So you can add several photos. I think on Facebook, you can also add photos and videos in combination. Maybe you can do the same on Instagram. They've changed some things recently. You can also add tags of people. Just as on Instagram, you can tag people in the caption and then you can tag people on the photo. So it's something to consider if you want to do both or one or the other. And then this little like circle arrow thing is location. So including all of those things on your post, again, will extend the reach. Okay, so a little bit more on tagging other participants and leaders. This is a good example of what I was trying to mention earlier of all the things you should be including in your post. So Janes Walk Maine, your walk title, your walk time, location, the link, adding an image, and then tagging collaborators. So when you tag collaborators, you're going to use the @ symbol and then type in the name of that person's page, whether it's an individual or an organization. Once you've tagged them, it should turn up blue like it looks on this right screenshot. Sometimes the people you're trying to tag aren't showing up and you're like, why are they not showing up? It very well could be that you didn't exactly type in exactly what their page is called. Facebook can be kind of picky. And it could also be that you haven't followed them. So if you open another tab and go to Facebook and then type in, make sure you're looking for, Friends of Congress Square Park, make sure that it's spelled the same way and it's like spaced out the same way, and make sure you're following that page, and they're more likely to pop up in this list where you can select them and they'll be tagged. Also, remember to tag us, Maine Preservation, and all of our collaborators. So Friends of Congress Square Park, Greater Portland Landmarks, Downtown Center, Portland Downtown. Maine Semi-Quincentennial Commission, which on Instagram is America 250 ME, and Main Street Maine, because then you're more likely to get that we will see it and we'll be able to reshare it to our stories or do a reshare on our Instagram profile so it shows up in that section of our profile. So just some things to consider. Oh, also tagging locally relevant organizations and groups and those people and businesses that you want to see and share your posts. It's just a great way to make sure that those people are notified that they've been tagged in a post, and then they're likely to see that your Jane's Walk is happening. Okay. Posting in groups. This is another great way to expand the reach of your post and of your walk. I will say, like, we are doing a lot of posts between now and Jane's Walk. I think it's probably pretty good to do, plan for several posts between now and when your walk occurs, but also to like maybe do one or two to announce your walk and then pepper in a couple on the way and then do several right before your walk. Because it's a free event, you want to just make sure you're top of people's mind. And again, on Instagram, like the reminders feature is a great way to re-remind people that this is happening. Anyway, back to groups. So once your post is posted on Facebook, you can use that little arrow and send it to somebody else. So this takes us to the second screenshot here in the upper right. You can share it on WhatsApp. You can share it to your Facebook story. Great opportunity. You can copy the link or you can share it to a group. So if you're going to share it to a group, you should probably give some context. So if you're in Events Westbrook, you can say, hey, Westbrook, I'm leading this great walk. I'd love to see you out there. Get some more information at janeswalkmaine.org/mywalkinwestbrook. And then select the groups that you want to share it to. So the groups that are going to come up here are ones that you reach out to frequently, but you can also search for groups. And if it doesn't come up, go to a new tab on Facebook, make sure that you're in the group that you want to be sharing in, and also check that group's rules about what is allowed to be shared. For the most part, in like public event groups, this is pretty standard and it's totally okay, but just something to consider. And then you just press share now. But my suggestion is really just make sure you give some context about what you're sharing in the group. Again, a lot of that information will be in the post you're sharing about, but just to make sure. And then also the copy link feature. So if you're copying the link, this is the link to your post. So maybe this is instead of one of the like sneak peek posts that has maybe a little less information, the very first post about your walk that gives all the information people need, or like, I don't know, your most recent or your best post. Copy the link and share it any which way you want to share a link, whether this is an email list to all of your friends and family, this is the family group chat, this is wherever. I also think that you should consider posting on other platforms like Nextdoor, which is like Facebook, but neighborhood specific. And again, like the family group chat, your knitting group, like all of the different places where you connect with people is a great place to share the link. Okay, I'm just going to briefly touch on this because it might not be relevant to everybody, but boosting your post on Facebook is absolutely not required, but it can be really effective. With a pretty reasonably small ad spend, you can pay to make sure that your post is seen by more people in a relevant area. So if you are interested in boosting your post, again, not required, you can press boost post. Facebook is going to make it very obvious to you that boosting is an opportunity. So it's like on the back end of your post, on your profile side, you can select boost post and go through their setup here. It's pretty straightforward. You're going to select the audience that you're looking for, which is usually based on location. I'm going to look at my next screen because it has the best information. But ad spend anywhere between like $5 and $50 targeted to the few days right before Jane's Walk. So I would do this, between the 27th and the 2nd. Once you press go on this ad, it's going to start spending your ad money and start boosting your post to people. So instead of spreading it out over the next, 17 days, I don't know how many days exactly until Jane's Walk, you should target it to just a couple of days right before the event, because then it's less spread thin and it's hopefully targeting the people that you really want to have see your ad. So when you first go into boost a post, it's going to ask you to do it automatically. You don't really want that. We're not trying to get calls. We don't really need to build an email list. We don't really need DMs. I mean, people might ask you questions, but you don't need that. What we want is engagement. We want people to see the post, to like the post, and to interact with the links in the post, and maybe also share it. So when you're setting up your ad, select get more engagement, and then choose a location that is reasonably within a reasonable distance from the location of your walk. This one has selected Bath within 18 miles. So, it's reasonable to assume that someone within 18 miles of Bath would want to drive to the Bath walks. And then you can choose some detailed targeting options, which is just below the location. Interests may include Maine and architecture, and demographics might include historic preservation, depending on the topic of your walk. If you're doing a walk on climate resiliency, maybe climate is the demographic topic that you're interested in adding here. And this is something that you can edit and tweak as your ad is running. So over those couple of days that you've chosen to, launch your ad, Facebook will also suggest for you other demographics topics that are relevant. Once you put in a couple of things, it'll be like, oh, based on what you've told me, this is what I suggest you should do. So something to consider, not at all required. A little goes a long way in terms of budgets. So for example, this ad is running with $50. It's expected that every day you'll get between 4 and 17 leads. So what's that? In the 5 days that you're running this ad, it could be as little as 20 people that see it, but it could be as high as 85. So it's not nothing. And those 85 people might send it and share it with other friends and family and people that they want to join them on this Jane's Walk. So something to consider, not at all required, just something to consider. Okay. How are we feeling? Any questions about that? That was the Facebook portion of our event. Cool. So you got an email from Tara that has some information about materials about promoting your walk. So the email was titled "The 2026 Jane's Walk Roster is Live." Woohoo! And you can find that at janeswalkmaine.org. Find a walk, /find a walk. And this email that Tara sent you has a lot of other relevant links. So it links to the Facebook page that I think you should be tagging in all of your Facebook posts. And it links to our Google Drive social media templates, but I'll walk you through the Google Drive in a minute. There's also the festival press release in that email. And you can either send that press release exactly, or you can replicate it and make additions and changes to it to send it to your local press organizations. But sending out a press release about your walk is probably a good idea. We'll get into that a little bit more in the moment. It also has a link to our festival announcement email, and there will be another e-blast going out soon. I think it's April 24th it'll go out, and I'm going to try to get as many people whose walks are sort of represented in this phone call into that email as I can. So you could probably share that email with your friends and family as well as a forward. And then the email that Tara sent you has a link to the Google Drive flyer templates, which you can adapt and use as you would like. Okay, promotion strategies. So the hard copy flyer is a great method of, spreading the word. It's sort of stood the test of time in a lot of ways. You can share the Jane's Walk flyer exactly as we've got in the template folder, which is this one. Then there's also one that you can do specific for your walk. So maybe you want to print out multiple. Also, walk leaders will be getting a packet. This is true, Tara, right? Everybody gets the packet in the mail, which has 2 of these flyers in it. So you can share those as well that are already printed. But you can use the flyer template to create your own Jane's Walk specific flyer and share those in libraries, on public message boards, tack it to a phone pole. Ask in the local businesses in your community if you can maybe post one in the window, or if they're willing to, share it at the front desk. And that's a great way to have sort of the local specific targeting. If you are going to tack them to a phone pole, please retrieve them after the event to prevent litter. This is not good publicity if this ends up just in the gutter. And then also alert your hyperlocal press, blogs, newsletters. Sometimes libraries will have a community event board or a digital community event board. So submit this to local event boards as you can, both online and hard copy versions. Forwarding the e-blast is a great opportunity, and then inviting friends. Word of mouth is a powerful tool. I've been just telling everybody I know and see about Jane's Walk, and I think it's going to work really well. Um, okay, next, this is the Google Drive. So once you click into some of those links, this is what it should look like. Um, the flyer folder has our Janes Walk Maine 2026 logo in it. And then it also has the flyer um, template that you can adapt and also has like a blank flyer template that you can adapt, as well as the PDF of the Janes Walk flyer that I just showed on the previous page. The logos folder has the date logo. The sign-in sheets are there. You're going to get 2 sign-in sheets in your Janes Walk packet. But if you're expecting more than 20 people, which is awesome, print out some more of those. The social media folder has templates for social media posts, but again, get creative on social media, and you can create specific ones for your walk. And then the town names folder has all of the town names in the correct Janes Walk branding. So look for your town name there, and if for whatever reason you don't see it, reach out to one of us. Okay, just like quick tips on downloading from Google Drive and using those templates. So there's a couple ways to do this. The best way is if you have a Google account, you can click on those 3 dots and select Open With, and then it'll take you over to like this second side, and you can select Google Slides. It's really easy to edit these templates in Google Slides, and then you can just export them and print them. Oh, sorry, these are for social media. You can just export them as JPEG or PNG. Um, the other option is to download these um, by clicking the 3 dots and then pressing download. You can download as a PowerPoint, which is like a PPTX file, or you can just download it, I think, as a PDF even, and then upload it to Canva. Canva is like a free editor, and that can also be an easy way to edit these files if you don't like using Google Slides. Okay, in editing the flyer, make sure you change the picture and include the relevant information. So you want to change that address to have your time and your address. You can keep the website and the QR code the way it is. People are going to scan that QR code and it'll take you to the Find a Walk page. So people can sort by county or by topic or I don't think by time or just by keyword. Um, and then also remember to change your walk title and change out the image part to be your town name. But the Janes Walk Maine and the date can both stay the same. This is like the standard Janes Walk branding. There's also like a blank template that you can use if you wanted to do something a little different. And that's all I've got to share with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Maisie. Do we have any questions more narrowly for what Maisie just shared, the raft of information on not just social media, but how to download, which I think is really important.
It's important.
Oh. Any questions for Maisie?
I
Okay,
might stop share so I can see. Is that okay?
of course. So I just want to reinforce something that Maisie explained really well in her presentation, but that I think kind of zooming out beyond the social media kind of benefits of sharing is that the it's not just about the engagement, right, to your page or to your post, but by sharing, using the hashtag, tagging the page, leaving the Janes Walk ME QR code and link on the flyer, by promoting the festival in general, you are expanding the reach of not just your walk, but everyone else's. Because if all 68 walk leaders is doing the same thing, that is driving engagement to your walk too. And so I think some people might think, well, I should just promote mine and just share the link for mine and only share information about my walk. But and thinking that that might, cause more competition. But it's like when you have a restaurant on the street and there's no other restaurants in town, you're the only restaurant and you think you should own, that's the good thing. When there are 10 restaurants, you become a destination that everybody goes to find a variety of things to eat. And if there's no room in one place, you bop into the other. And so by sharing all of the Janes Walks within the festival, that means that somebody who maybe is your friend, but can't make it to your walk in Portland, but lives in Ellsworth, they will know about the 8 walks that are happening there and and maybe attend one of those, and then vice versa. So we're sort of trading that promotion, which I just think is really important to gaining more traction with the festival and seeing more attendance across all walks.
Tara, I'll add one thing to that, which is just like as you're being so generous with your sharing and your reposting and your, sharing in all these different ways, commenting on other people's posts is also going to boost them. So if you don't want to reshare it to your story, comment and be like, so hyped for this walk. Post with comments, just do better. So it's an easy way.
Are there other sort of more other questions about promoting your walk, generally speaking, something that hasn't been covered, and then moving on to just kind of other logistics and festival questions? No, everybody's an expert. Great. All right then. Well, so as Maisie said, we Maine Preservation specifically will be sending out two more dedicated e-blasts. If you're not on our mailing list yet, please do sign up. That's what happens when you sign up on the mailing list on janeswalkme.org. But you can also find the sign up to our newsletter on Maine Preservation's website, which is mainepreservation.org. So you can see those e-blast there. If you're obviously not already following us or any of our partners, please do. We'll all be continuing to promote leading up to May 2nd. I will be sending you another email right before Thursday or Friday, reminding you that your walk is coming up on Saturday. One other point of order, it's rain or shine. So please be prepared for the weather. Remember to enlist volunteers. Remember to take photos. So one of the things that also continues to build excitement and engagement around Jane's Walk is seeing photos of what a terrific day we all have, and for those who don't make it, to just have the worst FOMO of their lives. So take pictures. I will give you the link to upload them into the Google Drive, and also don't forget that the FAQ for Jane's Walk is on the website. So if you continue to have questions in thinking about, day of logistics of how best to conduct your walk, that's a resource, but you could always email us. In general, it's info@mainepreservation.org, but I am specifically Tara at mainepreservation.org, and Maisie is specifically Maisie at mainepreservation.org. Very simple to remember. Reach out and have a great day.